All right, so in today's video, we are watching a top 500 Sigma, Reinhardt, Zarya, Ramattra, Hog, and Doomfist in this game. We are actually watching a top 500 player today. Basically, to summarize why they want to see this and all that, they said that they're a top 500 tank player who is struggling with adjusting to the playstyle changes of Season 9. Any rank is struggling with that, trying to figure out how you want to play tank now. They say that they were rank 130 last season, but they just don't know what to do now. So I'm kind of curious. I don't think we've actually spectated the top 500 game. So obviously, for me, I want to see where they're struggling at, things that I can also see that could help me, but also help everybody else who's trying to find this new play style of how do you play tank in Season 9. Let's find out. See where it goes. We have to add some fun green screen stuff, which you haven't seen the updated green screen. You're gonna love it. Here we go.
Now to know the unknown.
It's interesting because you are playing that close strat. I've always talked about how in top 500 you won't find players playing too far up there. And the first thing I see is a top 500 Sigma go right in front of them. Yeah, Brock? I mean, you're going for the early L charge, so backing up is fine. So far, so good. I don't have anything here that I'm like, okay. Keep in mind, this happened before Zarya was buffed. They just buffed Zarya yesterday. I don't know if I've gone up against Mr. Poopy 69420, to be honest with you. Wonderful name. So far, so good, by the way. So far, I don't have any, like, major complaints about what you're doing here. I think you're playing smart. You're backing up when you need to. You're maximizing ult charge. The thing is, I don't want you to stay here too long. One of my major issues sometimes is I have this ability to want to play really aggressive, but then I play almost too aggro to the... Not even, like... I'm running into their spawn type of situation. It's more like I just stay way too aggressive in one area, and then eventually they just get me. And that... it's so hard to say how this is going to go for you, but eventually if you keep all in right here, you're going to get rolled. That's if you stay here for too long. Yeah, okay. See? And right away, this is what I was kind of talking about. Because you can see right here that if you stay there for too long, and especially in these top 500 games, the team is eventually going to be able to get you. They're eventually going to be able to get you. They're eventually going to be able to make a play. And that's what happened. The reason why Blizzard World is played the way that it is, where I talk about why you play back, is because you can play angles and it gives you time to escape and reset. So one of the things you can do here, say, you know how like a lot of tanks play in this corner right here? Right? You can rotate around and reset team fights a lot easier when you play here. When you play here, you get rolled. Reinhardt, a very interesting swap. Now, I know why you're going Rein, because they have a Zarya. Rein against Zarya is fairly good. I will say you might struggle a little bit with Reinhardt here. Here we go. Rein's been struggling a lot this current patch. So far, so good. Honestly, that was a really quick ult charge, by the way. Holy crap, you just farmed some ult. What rank is this? Top 500. I don't know what rank right now specifically, but they were rank 130 last season at one point. Okay, get your shield up here. Don't over push. Go for a fire strike through the window, because why not? All good there. Nice. Shields up again. Shields up. Play the corners. You're doing fine. So far, you're doing fine. You haven't really... The only mistake you made was playing too far up initially. I don't have anything like I look at this and I go, oh, what are you doing? Like, you started off good against it. You hit the like button? That does help when you hit the like button. Yes. I haven't had any use of the green screen yet. Big slam time? You said there's no way to stop 100? It's funny that you say that because you say there's no way this is top 500, etc. Like, this is why I always talk about how a lot of the things I talk about in spectating, and I can also make some of those like similar plays that just aren't as good. When you get to top 500, some of the play style is a lot of things you might see in like, let's say silver. It minimizes the amount of times that you do that, right? So let's say that you're in silver and, you know, 8 out of 10 times your tank is out of position. In top 500, you might find that the tank is 3 out of 10 times out of position, right? So things that you see in your rank now, you still may very much see. Obviously, the mechanical skill, etc., like gets better with each rank. But a lot of like the little things that you'll see in Overwatch will still happen in top 500. It's just you minimize how often you do that. I mean, if you watch me, I do not play the game like perfect at all with that stuff. Like it does not happen. I make plenty of plays that I'm like, okay, that wasn't ideal, as chat knows. Wait for bubbles. Oh, big slam. Actually, that's gonna get you a limb. Behind you is the Rein. I mean, not the Rein, the Cass. Correct play. So if you're actually going, oh, why'd the Rein do that? It's the correct play. You're just resetting with your team really quickly. I'm totally fine with that. All right, here we go. You watched me General Queen ult into a well yesterday? Yeah, I played that perfect. We're gonna blame the game somehow, okay? Listen, there was a vision for that play, all right? This is a good play, by the way. So when you're on Rein, this stops the cart. There's really nothing else that Rein can do except maybe try to shield their team, which was great play there, by the way, going to shield your team. Obviously, forced down. That was actually all well played there. I'm not upset about that. You're also on Reinhardt, so your playmaking ability is a little bit different. Yep, there it is. That's the Rein that I know. That's the Rein I know right there. All right, now we're on the Zarya. Keep in mind, this is Zarya before the recent buff they just did yesterday to Zarya. So a little bit less damage here. This is called the, okay, I've tried 2 different heroes. It's not working. Time for me to mirror, right? Did green screen time, please? Well, I'm not gonna like, here's the thing about the green screen. I'm not just gonna force use the green screen in situations just to do that. Like, I will use the green screen as much as I possibly can because it's really fun now with what we have. At the same time, I don't want to overuse it because if I'm just using it pointlessly, then it feels like it's just not gonna be that as fun. No, replay goes in every set because it was considered a hotfix. What was the first here before Rein? Sigma, and they played 2 aggro. Careful of your angles here. You're going in the middle of the open. I know what you're doing here, too. Because I do the same thing. You got to just be careful of your angle there. What you did there is you went, like, too wide, and when you go too wide, they're going to do free damage to you. I do that sometimes, too, where I really want to get a kill. I think something I'm starting to learn, by the way, that can be super helpful, is that when you go for a target and they start to overcommit to save them, what you can do is actually get off of the Zarya, go to your right, and start to get some of the squishies there. They start to over-panic, like on, like, healing up their teammates. So, like, they'll start to be like, oh, no, I got to keep the Zarya up. You go for them, the Zarya forces a bubble onto them, and then you get the limb on Zarya. It's just like, if you just try to get Zarya down, that can happen. It doesn't mean don't do that, it just means that can happen also. As in, like, don't go for the tank. It just, in that situation, you can swap targets for a second if you feel like you're not able to get the Zarya down. Yeah, I mean, that is just, like, this has been a game for you where, like, I think you're trying to figure out what you really need to do to, like, make it work and, like, what tank you have to go. I think you might also be... I think you're trying to find the right tank combo here too much, almost. And I do this sometimes right now, too, by the way. Keep in mind, this is from learning from experience with this one. I've been doing this, too, where I try to do too many swaps. And in reality, like, for example, when you were on Sigma, you were fine. The reason why you lost first point is because you just played really close right up here. Do you see what I'm talking about? Like, you played too close after a certain point, like, because you gave them a free pick. And when you give them a free pick here, it's really hard to hold back here. You see what I'm saying? So the point I'm trying to make is, like, when you make plays like that, you have to be extremely careful. Because, like, that's how you just lose first point for free. You can still get picked off as a tank on first point Blizzard World, right on the point, and then your teammates now have cover and ability to create angles to get a limbs. That's why you gotta remember that. All right, here we go. Let's see what happens. Thank you for the 333. I can't say I'll look in a second, Rosa. Watching you go high ground. I'm really curious to see how Ramattra goes here because it's not a bad pick. Remember, as Ramattra, a lot of it, there's this tendency to want to go into Nemesis for him, which I wasn't referencing that specifically there. but there's this tendency to go into Nemesis form. I'm gonna be honest with you. If you just stay in, like, out of Nemesis form and just kind of shoot your Doritos at them for a while, you'll start to find that, like, it is really strong, especially with a lot of the changes they made to the projectile size. Like, you don't have to force go Nemesis form just to use Nemesis form sometimes. And that's just a complete side note to Ramattra, but you can see that. Like, just the spam here is good. Like, right there, like, Nemesis form. That's what I'm referencing. Like, what do you go in Nemesis form there? Because you're not doing anything except blocking. Now you've used the whole Nemesis form, right? And now you don't have it for a few seconds. You swear back in Overwatch 1, you actually had to choose the one to bubble skillfully and anticipate damage incoming? I'm gonna be real with you, not really. I know what you're saying. I found that a lot of Zaryas still didn't use their bubbles correctly. Really good Zaryas that use their bubbles correctly in Overwatch 1 were tough to play against, but the same playstyle is in Overwatch 2. A lot of it, though, is just kind of waiting on your... It's more of waiting on your teammates to be willing to be able to do that now. A lot of players are more, like, likely to be playing back now in comparison to before, so that bubble time and you kind of just lost. So, like, it was not even, like, the skillful side of it. You can still play Zarya and have good bubbles, but, like, that's relying on your teammates, like, willing to work with you on those bubbles. All right, here we go. I am curious to see what it's like today when I play ranked and how Zarya is, though, because Zarya did get damage buffed. For it. What's this? We're doing a spectated in top 100. Not a bad shield. Good job saying, do not Nemesis form yet. I want you to get a little bit closer. There you go. Good play. And then you can use your ultimate after, if you need to. No, you're oh, yeah, here we go. Back away, back away. Don't force the ult. Unfortunately, they counted that correctly. This is actually a fairly... Okay. So what's happening right now is this. Your team is struggling against this, like, brawl type of situation. It's not brawl, but they're all playing tight and as, like, a core. So, yeah, I was going to say, at a certain point, you just need to try to make a play. And I do this sometimes where, like, if nothing happens for a while, you need to change up what you're doing. And I think a lot of players will get stuck in that, like, I'm just going to keep running it down mid over and over again until something happens. And now you finally make a play, hit a button, and it goes well. Obviously, that was a good job after that. Here we go, waiting. Good job, good job. Nice pick. Good job getting behind a wall. Shield up. Good job. I mean, I don't think this is a... To be clear with you, I don't think this is you playing really bad or anything either. I think, like, the adjustment you have to make is being willing to be patient with the heroes that you're on. Like, and that you just need to keep playing cover. And honestly, if you're a tank player right now, and I'll pause after this team fight. If you're a tank player right now and you're sitting there going, okay, like, what am I doing wrong? Like, you know, why does it feel like I have to rely on, like, DPS a lot of the time for this? Like, all of that stuff? I'm gonna be real with you. That's totally normal right now for tank. Tank's in a spot where sometimes you can't make a play. It's very comp dependent. Sometimes you just have to hope that your teammates get a pick, and then you go in and make a play after. And it's not that I want you to get in the tendency of just not making any plays, but sometimes in a game like this where you're playing double sniper and they're playing Cassidy and Sojourn, as a tank, you need to figure out something to do here. And this is also kind of why you've seen Wrecking Balls slowly become meta, is because at a certain point you go, I can't do anything here as Ramattra. I can't get anything really going here as any of the tanks I've tried, because I'm so reliant on waiting on this that you go Wrecking Ball, you dive their backline, and then hope that pulls pressure away. So this is a situation where you start to see that dive tank become a little bit more effective, because at a certain point you're just running into a wall, right? You just constantly run into this wall and you can't do anything. So you have to make the decision, is running into the wall working for my team? Or do I need to somehow create a way for the other team to turn around? And this is becoming, that's where you're like, the balance of Season 9 has become difficult for tanks. Not balance isn't like the hero balance. How do you find the balance between, I can stand here and face tank, and then I need to eventually go to a hero that can get into the back line, because if I sit here and face tank, I will fall over if my teammates aren't getting those picks. Recommendations I have, if you find that things are struggling.
Fun fact about chat, everyone is actually in top 500 when we spectate.
Oh.
Especially bronze players. It's their knowledge and sage advice that actually carried emongg into top 500 to begin with, and their masterful coaching that improves his gameplay daily. Thank you, bronze chat.
So as a tank though, you'll find that you need to find that balance now. And that's been the problem. And I think that's why it's been tough for tanks, is because you're very reliant on waiting on that pick. Doesn't mean it can't work. I mean, their Zarya, go the other way there. Their DPS aren't getting immediate picks, and their Zarya's having a little bit more fun than you are. So like, that's why I'm saying to you, like, your biggest issue was like you were rank 130 last season, and you're struggling to adapt to tank. Most tanks are struggling with that right now. Most tanks are struggling with that right now. Yep. Okay. And then here's the first rotation of tanking, right? And I'm gonna explain this very quickly. This is I don't know what to do. I don't know what's going on. I'm waiting on HP half the time. I'm taking too much damage. I've had enough of this. I'm going Roadhog. This is what the Roadhog swap is. Sometimes you'll hear me say, okay, I might as well go Hog at this point. It's because sometimes the supports aren't going to be able to keep you up because the DPS are constantly shooting you, which is giving you 20% healing reduction. So you go, okay, I need to switch. And then there's other things happening where you can't get anything done, so you go, I'm going to go Hog. You go Hog, you find that the majority of the time you're playing Hog, you either go and get a pick, or you're just holding your heal button down the whole time. So let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Wait, what happened to the Ashe? Did I miss something? I honestly didn't see. That's my bad. I don't know what happened. So what are you doing? Yeah? All right, that was quick. All right, what's heroes next? Because there's no way you're staying a Hog after seeing that happen right there. What's next? Oh, Ashe went off the map? Fair enough. You're going round 2? So you just walked right on the high ground. Witness what just happened there and going for round 2 of this. All right. Okay. Hey, good hook. By the way, do you see what happened with this tank? And this is exactly what we were talking about. At a certain point, you realize you can't face tank, so you just have to run around the map and do whatever, because, like... Oh, well, you're with... What the world was all of that? You got brought up by the grab, and then you got a hook that was kind of in range? I'm saying, this is what I'm saying with tanking right now. Do you see what's happening? Like, this is what I mean. Like, you're in a situation where you're just kind of like, you know, gotta switch. And then after all of that, after you're like, you know what, I'm gonna make these swaps, you have an Orisa now. Good luck. So even when you finally do make a swap that works for you, or like you're able to change your play style, all it takes is one really quick swap, and now they're on Orisa. Good luck, have fun. Did you sorry this was a nice pick? Yeah, oh, it's looking great now, isn't it? Good job. Good hook. I mean, hey, look at this Hog gameplay. Didn't even matter they went Orisa. Look at that. But see, you see what I mean about the play style of tank now, where it's just kind of like at a certain point you have to just make that decision of, am I going to sit here and try to face tank and wait for a pick over and over again, or am I just going to go a hero that can do something? Now, Hog is actually one of the tanks that's been struggling, so it's always interesting to see Hog actually work. Oh, there we go. Okay, that's more like it. There you go. All right, you've had enough fun. You've had enough fun, that's it. I'm sorry. Yep, on to Doom now. Yeah. Because this is what happens. You can't face tank. You know, I respect your vision there to save your teammates. It didn't work, but at least it was nice. Nice pick. That is, yeah, good luck. Oh, yeah. Good luck. Yep, had to make that play. The classic, it looks like you're going to have a really good play and you kick a field goal. Yep, I've been there, don't worry. Oh, this is sad because, yep, there's the field goal again. I recognize that gameplay. What rank is this? Top 500. Or, well, yeah, they were top 100 last season. Yep. Okay, so it was actually interesting watching a top 500 game because, like, I know what's happening in your rank game, and just to kind of, like, give you a quick idea on this one. If you're finding that you're struggling and the standstill strategy isn't working, that's where I make those rotations to Diva a lot of the time. Tanking right now is in this area of, like, it starts with, are my DPS getting the picks early? If they're not, how can I help my DPS get those picks? What can I do to create space for my team? That's when you start to make those swaps to heroes like Doomfist. You know, even Roadhog was working because you were able to go on flanks and distract them. Eventually, if it's not working, you need to create off angles. That's what I've noticed this tank this season because, like, you can't take as much poke damage now because there's 20% less healing, right? And your supports will struggle to keep you up. So I think for you, try not to do as many hero swaps on what you're doing. Focus on one, good positioning, like first point when you hecked up on Sigma and got rolled. And two, be willing to commit to, like, understand where the problem's happening on your team when it comes to, like, okay, the other team is just able to get these early picks because it could be multiple things. It could be as simple as the other team's DPS is getting damage boosted and your DPS keeps getting them low, but they keep getting healed, and then you can't do anything, right? It could be as simple as that. So, okay, next thing is how can I get to their back line, create pressure that way as a tank? If that helps, then you'll see the game open up for your teammates in a much better game. But yeah, if you feel like as a tank right now, you're struggling with the concept of how do you play tank right now, all the tanks are going through that, all the way from bronze to champion right now, because it's definitely a playstyle adjustment, and that's kind of how I see it. If you like this video, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to all 3 YouTubes if you haven't. If you want to submit your own spectator, look in the description below, and what you'll see my Discord. That's where you would do that. We record these live on stream. If you look right there, you can see the Twitch chat below the webcam. We have a lot of fun here. Stop by if you haven't. And with that being said, I hope you all have an amazing day/night.